Yeah. Impact. Nice. That's gonna hurt.
And this is occupied. Nice shooting.
Jesus, that's big. Nice one. That's gotta be a big bomb.
5-6, good hit.
Two's good impact. Oh, very nice.
It's a good hit from one, and a good hit from two. Two artillery placements. Vicinity of P-Town, Area 1 destroyed.
That'll work. Cool sparks.
Keep moving. Little to the left, little to the left.
Very nice.
Philly 1-1, rim 3-3 on.
Good hit. Let's get out of here.
Nicely biscuit. It's a good impact, direct hit, target to smoke.
Good hit. Oh, yeah.
Got a few things to cover today. We still got a flight schedule today. AEs, where do we stand on this right now?
Well, as everyone knows, this is our 80th anniversary. The squadron was formed in September of 1919, and here we are in November of 1999. The squadron first started out in beautiful San Diego, where it was known as Air Detachment Pacific. The CO of the squadron was Captain Henry Mustin, a very famous naval aviator. I believe he was the third naval aviator ever designated. And they started out flying fighters. Since that time, they've been flying 22 different aircraft over our 80-year history. And certainly the squadron is known for being a squadron of firsts. VF-14 was the first squadron to ever perform a night landing on board an aircraft carrier in 1922, I believe. We've flown in 10 different conflicts, all the way from World War II to the Vietnam War to the Persian Gulf War, and of course most recently over Kosovo and Iraq, again in Operation Southern Watch. The squadron has been involved in some of the most history-making events in naval aviation. VF-14 was the first squadron to fly the F-14 in 1974 on the East Coast, and this marks our 25th year of flying the oldest airplane that the Navy's ever had in its inventory. The F-14 Tomcat is now 28 years old. In this most recent deployment, VF-14 was involved in flying combat operations over 2 theaters of operation in the same deployment. Pretty unique, dropped 409,000 pounds of ordnance, flew 55 days of combat in Kosovo, 33 days of combat over Iraq. Very impressive performance and a great mark for 80 years of excellence in this squadron. We have 220 people that are professional, what we call wrench turners, or people that fix the airplanes. In this most recent deployment we were on, we flew fairly heavily. We were flying 9 to 10 sorties a day, almost all of them combat, specifically over Kosovo. For a stretch of time, when we first started the conflict on 6 April, we were flying nothing but combat missions. It's significant to note that typical operations over the ship will involve usually a spare aircraft in case something goes down. Over basically about a 2-month period, we did not miss a single sortie. We flew 417 consecutive sorties. Very significant. In my mind, that's something that had never been done before. And during that time, our ordnance people loaded over 1 million pounds of ordnance. Now, that's not to say that we dropped all that ordnance. We dropped just a little bit under half of that, about 400,000 pounds. But more significant than that is we never lost a bomb off an airplane by mistake. We had virtually no duds out there and not one ordnance incident during the entire deployment. I couldn't be more proud of their performance. In my mind, in my 18 years of service in the Navy, I've never seen a deployment or a performance by our enlisted troops that matches this one.
Whenever there's a big operation or a big strike that goes out, probably the biggest thing is everybody's pumped and ready to go. Everybody's there, and you're just excited that something's going to happen. They're going to go out, do what they need to do, and come back. Everybody's going to be safe. We're one big team. That's all it is. If one person tries to be an individual, there's a chance somebody can get injured or killed. It's one of the biggest things. Always got to be working in a team, watching everybody else's back. On the boat, when you're launching off a cat, you know that you're giving the air crew the best aircraft you can. You've seen him going up in the Zone 5, launching off the end of that carrier, knowing that he's got the best jet and he's coming back.
Kind of cool to, when they were, you go up to the flight deck, you got these massive bombs loaded on your aircraft, and you come back with none. You know, it was kind of disappointing when they brought them back. You're like, man, that sucks.
This was an absolutely incredible cruise for not only Fighter Squadron 14, but also for CAG 8, and I'd also say for the Navy as a whole. We ended up deploying approximately 3 weeks early, March 26, and that was pushed up because things were starting to build up in Kosovo, Yugoslavia. We were starting to see some activity happening out there, and forward deploying some Air Force units. We CQ'd in 2 days, in just under 2 days, the entire air wing, and made a high-speed transit across the pond. Showed up in theater on April 6th and conducted our first strike that night. We had 2 fly days for currency and route during the high-speed transit, in which cases we had a couple of our young guys get their first flight under the goggles, wearing MVDs, and using the lantern as their one practice shot before going into combat. And we started combat ops on the 6th of April.
Did you understand you got a good operate? Copy. Thanks for coming. Good hit.
The first strike was a real eye-opener. It's kind of interesting to study and you prepare and you train for combat operations every day in the Navy, and the reality of it that hits on that first night when you're actually out there and they're shooting at you for real, and it's not an exercise, and you're not going to come back and debrief whether or not you were killed, was pretty sobering. Nothing like the reality of the first actual combat strike in the dark at nighttime, and that will be ingrained in my mind forever.
What we got to do was more than any of us could have anticipated, or the timing was perfect for us. We had great airplanes and great people to fly with, and a pretty good plan.
About to go over and stand by. The laser's on.
The biggest challenge for me, I think, and the biggest unknown for me was working with the Lantern Pod. So that was in and of itself a big learning curve from the maintenance side of the house and from the operational side of the house. Getting those things, trying to figure out techniques to, work around clouds, work with weather, and I think we really proved that even in adverse conditions, you can overcome a lot.
And there's impact, ×2, all your contacts.
Contact.
Copy, you're cleared hot on those marks. Try and target your weapons in between the two.
There was one mission where I actually, because I was launched as a spare, I ended up taking over the role as the mission commander for all of Kosovo. And I was crewed with a non-FAC-A, another junior guy like myself. And I'd have to say I had stage fright for about the first 30 seconds as we were crossing over the border. But then training kicked in and we started doing things as usual. My most memorable hit is taking out the SA-6, because that weapon is designed to take airplanes out of the sky, and I think by killing that SA-6, I'm saving my life and saving my buddy's life.
One particular mission, drawing down into Kosovo towards the end, we were tasked with going out and working with a B-1 bomber, and had a section of B-1 bombers going into one of the southern towns, controlled them in to a small town looking for some tanks and artillery, and the stick of bombs, general purpose bombs that they dropped, was pretty impressive.
Most of the terrain out in Kosovo, actually, you kind of had some mountains like around the outskirts of the country, but so most of what we did out there was kind of in some flat terrain. There was one actual like railroad or road tunnel. It was down in like a ravine, basically. We had multiple strikes actually go out there and try to hit this tunnel just to drop it and cut off that line of communication for the enemy's use. But due to just where this thing was positioned, nobody could get in there and support the weapon all the way through time of flight to actually hit this thing. So we go out there a section of F-14s, and on that particular day there was actually a pretty low cloud deck actually. In addition to trying to work around this ravine, we drop and we have good target acquisition. But even as we're coming off, you can kind of start to see how much that terrain was a factor, how much it's starting to get to the point where it masks the lantern pod from the time of impact. But managed to work around that terrain and finally drop this tunnel, which is pretty thrilling.
The off-going FAC-A was running out of gas, had ordnance, but had to go back and pick up a little bit more fuel, and we were showing up right at the time where a AAA site was becoming active, and they called us onto it, and we pretty much took over at that point. There were no other aircraft aside from the FAC-A and the escort there at the time. We called over some A-10s that were not directly in the area, but within the following 10 minutes they did show up with the IR Mavericks. And we called them onto it. They saw it without much difficulty. It was the point on the ground that was shooting at us, so it was pretty easy to spot. And they were firing at the A-10 as it was coming in. Well, the A-10 shot its IR Maverick and fell probably 10 feet short, which scared the people. Didn't seem, from our perspective, didn't seem to hurt anybody, but they got scared and they ran away. And so be it, the artillery site stopped firing at that time. We came in after the A-10, dropped a Mark 82, a laser-guided Mark 82, and took out the site.
I would say the most memorable mission that I had didn't happen in Kosovo. It happened in Southern Watch. There was 6 Tomcats, of which I was the overall lead of the whole gaggle, 4 Hornets, 4 F-16s, and 6 British Tornadoes. Our target was a command bunker, actually a headquarters bunker. As we went into the target area, AAA started to come up because it was daytime, and as we had our TOT on the bunker, we put 2 GBU-24s within a second of each other right into that bunker, absolutely devastating it. And the division of Tomcats were going after very small radar bands, very hard to find, and they whacked every one of those. So It was a huge success from the Navy standpoint because we were the overall lead. The Air Force didn't want to give us the lead. They didn't want to give us their GBU-24 target. Luckily, we had a top hat liaison officer who finagled that deal for us. And when that occurred, when the results came back, I think the Navy was 7 out of 8, and that was by far and away the best performance of any of the aircraft out there. When that word got back to the KOC about 5 minutes after TOT, the whole KOC erupted in cheers and applause, and we came out there. Nobody got hit, no damage whatsoever. And for the 4 Tomcats that were a mitten trail, they saw nothing but a wall of flak ahead of them. So they got through there without any problems, although they were looking at kind of an ugly situation.
There was I think it was an SA-6 launcher positioned down by a roadway. It was a section of F-14s actually. We had our XO and DCAG in one jet, and myself and an Opus in the other one. And it was way north too. I mean, most of the strikes we did, or even routes in Iraq were down toward the south. This one took us way up north. So we get in there, we acquire the site, and as we're getting in close, there had been some JSOW that had been launched from other platforms, some Hornets behind us. So we're getting in, and the plan was, these JSOW would hit this target, and we come in and hard kill the site. And we get in close there, and then we see the JSOW impact, and the secondaries from that actually set off some of the SA-6s that were in that launcher site. We saw, and I had the lantern all trained on it, and you see multiple SA-6s suddenly come launching out of this site. And the pilots are looking outside and they go, whoa, SAMs are launching here. And we actually came off the target because we thought they were shooting at us until we realized these things just kind of went ballistically across the terrain there and impacted an airfield that was close by. But circled back around and dropped our weapons on that and hard killed the site.
Roger, it's going to be close here. 7 seconds. W, picture clean.
Okay, Sean, good impact. I recommend we get out of here.
Yeah, I thought it was probably the most rewarding part of the whole thing was seeing the squadron come together as a team, from the maintenance folks, the young guys and gals that are out there working on the jets, loading the ordnance. When they come together and become focused as they were toward an end goal was unbelievable. It was really impressive to see, like nothing I'd ever imagined, to see that kind of an effort with that kind of success, and it just is a testament to what can be done when enough people put their minds to something, and I thought that was very rewarding and really something to see.
This is an incredible squadron in all regards, and primarily from the maintenance level. The MC rates, the FMC rates are so far ahead of the C&O goals, so far ahead of anything else on this base. It's absolutely eye-watering. The most significant thing that we had seen from this deployment in the last 6-8 months is how the F-14 has transitioned to the role that it plays today. And in our 27-year of history of the F-14, the Tomcat has never really seen any major combat action in an air-to-ground role. We've always had that capability. We've always played the air-to-air role and done beautifully in that. However, in the last 6 months, we've seen the most significant combat action ever conducted in our history. We've seen from the battle group commander and from the SYNC that the Tomcat is the absolute premier platform of choice for strike warfare. And that is an absolute significant achievement and shift in our roles and mission. I mean, we are truly the centerpiece, and we're in both theaters of operation. With the ability to have the lantern and the dedicated operator, the FAC-A, the war fighter is looking to the Tomcat to lead the show. And we proved that in Kosovo as we evolved into that mission, and as we entered into Southern Watch, there wasn't a question. The Tomcat was the centerpiece for all of the Southern Watch strike missions. And I think that is the most significant thing that we have seen change in just this last 6 to 8 months and through our whole history.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was supposed to be kind of serious. I didn't know. Yeah. I rocked. Sent those bitches downtown.
Turn the tape on. It's on.
Oh, great. Yeah. Because it's all about body count.
Yeah, tally them all. Okay, good hits, good hit.
Hold on, please. Good hits.
One go by. There it goes. Very nice. Back around to the south for another run. One more run. Copy. Last hit. I want you to move it 30 meters. Let's go around with that. Come around. 2 and Mystic 2 and good hit. 035. Beautiful. Yeah, good hit. Oh shit. Object. Good hits. Yes. Okay, there's a direct hit. Good hit. Come over top of those coordinates. Hellsboat, Baker 7.
Because it's all about body count.